and welcome back to Kingdom Radio, and this is episode 3 of the Super Bowl set of episodes here because, hey, look, unfortunately we're cut down to 15-minute segments, but we're going to make the best of it. But check it out. I want to start with the Chiefs fan, the Super Chiefs fan that's known as the Puppet Lady, who's been going to Chiefs games for 30 years, parading the puppets and having them fight back and forth because one is typically a puppet of the opposing team. And she is going to Canton, Ohio. She has made it to the Hall of Fame, and she's also at the Super Bowl. You should check that video out on Twitter. It is pretty neat. Kris, what did you think? That was pretty cool thing for such a diehard Chiefs fan.
Yeah, that was incredible to see, and you could definitely tell the emotion, the passion in her voice, and just how honored she was. I felt so happy for her watching that video. Congratulations, Puppet Lady, you deserve it.
Yes, absolutely. And look, we wanted to give her recognition, and all the fans who are down there in Miami, here's your recognition, here's your shout out. There's a bunch of my friends down there, a bunch of super fans, as many people as possible who could make it from Kansas City is definitely there getting their taste of the Super Bowl. So here, let's talk about some stats here, Kris, because as we know, Patrick Mahomes has 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and is on pace to have the best, overall run for a quarterback in playoff history. So, that's a huge deal. Obviously, he needs 4 more touchdowns. I can't say obviously, but he needs 4 more touchdowns to tie the record or break it. What is that? What it is? 4 more?
4 to tie, 5 to break.
4 to tie, 5 to break, and which that's really obtainable for a player like Patrick Mahomes. Those are incredible stats, and we really need to keep that production going. No turnovers in the Super Bowl. But Kris, what's been going on with San Fran and their stats, within the playoffs? Because that's a key asset to the pattern that they're having going into the Super Bowl. So what do you got for us?
So Garoppolo's stat line for the playoffs looks like what almost any other quarterback would have in a game. He's had 27 passing attempts, completed 63% of those throws. He's got 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 3 sacks, and a QBR of 47.4.
47.4. So he really hasn't had to do a lot of work. It seems like someone else has been doing a lot of work out there.
And that's very true. The Niners have been relying very heavily on their run game out of, what was originally Tevin Coleman until he went down in the Packers game with a shoulder injury. Raheem Mostert stepped in and had himself a phenomenal day with over 200 yards rushing. And, he really came out of nowhere to the media. But this guy's their leading rusher on the year. And so it really shouldn't be that big of a surprise. This guy is extremely fast. He's probably going to be the second fastest player on the field behind Cheetah on Sunday's game.
And
go ahead.
Let's keep in mind what we had talked about earlier in the week with the San Francisco 49ers running back coach. And I'm not exactly sure what his name is off the top of my head, but he's produced 18 1,000-yard rushers, and that is something that's incredible. And they call him the late draft running back coach. I believe that's what his nickname is, and he really does a phenomenal job. So that's a testament to the players that you're speaking of right now, and Mostert, and what was the other one?
Tevin Coleman.
Coleman, yes. So it's the two-headed monster there, and they both should be healthy. So we're going to get a strong dose of both. But that's why we have players like the Honey Badger and Frank Clark, and I'll even throw K-Pass in there with Chris Jones. There's so many elements to this Chiefs defense that can stop a running game like that. But Kris, what else you got for us here?
So before I kick over to another component, the third head of the Niners rushing attack, Matt Breida, who all throughout the regular season has been used pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of the season, last couple of weeks, especially in the playoffs, he's almost been invisible. And that's really due to the fact that he's been having some tremendous ball handling issues. And so if we see him at all in this game and he's got the ball in his hands, hit the ball, knock it out.
And that would be, I'll tell you what, that would be a prime scenario for the Honey Badger to get himself a turnover, or anybody who can get into that 49ers backfield. And I really think the Chiefs should be going for the ball a lot, but in the same respect, the Chiefs have been a great tackling team this year, and I'd love to see that. I'd love to see better tackling, than I would love to see a strip ball. But if we can, accomplish both, hey, I'm all for that.
Yeah. So, as everybody has been saying going into this game, talking about the Niners' defensive front line and how phenomenal they are. Which, don't get me wrong, they are very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving our offensive line absolutely no credit whatsoever. And over the last 3 seasons, the Chiefs have played 13 games against teams that finished the season top 10 in sacks. In those 13 games, the Chiefs have only surrendered an average of 2.38 sacks a game. This season alone, the Chiefs have played in 3 games against teams in the top 7 in sacks: the Vikings, the Jaguars, the Patriots. Of those 3 games, the offensive line only surrendered 1.7 sacks a game.
I love it.
So when you factor in that 2 of those 3 contests were also on the road and in fairly harsh environments, that stat should really pop out at you.
Yes, absolutely.
And then both teams have demonstrated strong pass protection during the season. The Niners ranked 14th in offensive line Pro Football Focus's ranking, and have surrendered the 8th least quarterback hits with 73, and ranked 14th in sacks allowed with 36. The Chiefs, by comparison, ranked 16th in Pro Football Focus's ranking, and have surrendered the 7th least quarterback hits with 70, and ranked 3rd in the league in sacks, having only allowed 25.
Yes, I mean, and those are great numbers all the way across the board, and I think that's what makes this game so special, is because you're seeing the 2 best teams all the way around, top to bottom. These are the 2 best teams, and that's what's going to make this next episode so hard. Is we're going to have our predictions and our picks, but there's a lot of exciting news. I mean, a lot of exciting stats to pay attention to. And Kris, you're nailing all of them. You're hitting them all on the head, and there's so many. So I just want you to keep going. What else do you have?
Okay, so while we're talking about the offensive line, and our offensive line in our division is used to going up against 2-headed monsters of defensive lines. And both of our tackles in Fisher and Schwartz are used to having to stop defensive ends on their own.
Correct.
And which pretty much leaves our interior 3 to stop the interior, the rush.
Right, correct.
And I'm not going to lie, the Niners are definitely going to challenge us.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since we brought in Wisniewski, our offensive line has been phenomenal.
It really
having not
great.
given up more than 2 sacks a game.
It's been great. And look, the Chiefs haven't gone up against any slouched defensive lines, to be honest with you. And I know that it doesn't look as great on paper, but all season long the Chiefs have gone up against great defensive lines.
Yeah, and when you look at the overall strength of schedule, the Chiefs have, I believe, at least 5 spots of a higher ranking than the Niners do in strength of schedule.
Correct.
And so that also throws in just how good of defenses we have been facing.
It's they've.
And so.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Okay, so with our offensive line, the way it's set up the way that it is, I feel like we're going to have 5 linemen to stop their rushing 4.
Right.
Or we should be able to double team somebody, and we'll be okay. Now, if the Niners decide to gamble and blitz somebody, that's going to play into our favor because that's going to open up Kelce. It's going to open up Sammy Watkins.
Williams.
It's going to allow Tyreek to find Williams. It's going to allow them to find holes in that zone that the Niners are going to be playing, and Mahomes will take the dump pass. We're going to still keep moving the ball, and it's going to work out fantastically for us.
Yes.
We just can't allow ourselves to be caught into 3rd and long. If it's 3rd and we'll say 6, we'll call that manageable. We'll be okay.
Right, but here's the thing too is, if they play in zone and they're sending, I mean, obviously they're gonna have to play man coverage if they're sending, more than 4. But on every single time, the only thing that Mahomes has to do is send a guy, he's got to send a guy in motion, to see what the defense is doing, and there'll be a guy open immediately. And that's a testament to how smart Mahomes is. But I feel like as a mature quarterback, with a mature offensive line, it's one of these scenarios. And with Mahomes being the top quarterback in the league under pressure and scrambling, somebody's going to get open. There's going to be a busted route because the Chiefs are the best in the league at that as well. And I feel like the aggressive style of the defensive line is going to play right in the hands of the game plan of Andy Reid.
Yeah, we really do have the ability to counter their best attack. And, if we can get Patrick Mahomes 2.5 seconds in the pocket or more, I think that we're going to see a lot of success against this Niners team on Sunday. And I really want to say that, and I'm not going to say that necessarily that this is going to happen, but if we figure out this defense and we're able to control their attack, there's an opportunity for us to potentially put up 50, maybe even 60 points against this defense. Nobody else has put up that kind of game.
If Andy Reid will, let him pull the trigger like that, and I don't see him holding back. But okay, so look, we're down to 2 minutes here. What do you say about, Jimmy Garoppolo on the other side? How much time does he reasonably need to be efficient, and how can we chop that down and make it so Jimmy Garoppolo is uncomfortable in the pocket?
I think that because he's got a lot of speed at wide receiver as well.
Correct.
I think I'm probably going to throw the same amount of time there. I don't think that he's as quick as processing the information. So instead of the 2.5, I'll probably go 2.8. He needs about 2.8 seconds, which is going to work into our favor with Jones, Clark, K-Pass, Naughty when he comes in, T-Sizzle coming on the outside. It's going to help be to our benefit to have those extra 0.3 seconds to maybe not necessarily get to him, but apply pressure to him.
And that's a great thing about the Chiefs' defensive line is not only are they good at finding gaps, they're good at creating gaps and getting to the quarterback. And then you also see in Frank Clark, especially here in the playoffs when he's gone into another mode, he's been relentless. His motor doesn't stop, and he doesn't quit on a play. And that's something that I love seeing in the defensive line, like we see in the receivers and Patrick Mahomes, is none of these players are going to quit in a play, and they're going to give it their all. And I think that could be a difference maker as well. We're down to 30 seconds. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, just to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, these guys play for each other every single play, and there's absolutely every opportunity that these guys are going to come out with the victory on Sunday.
Yes, and if they play as a team and continue to do what they have been doing and get pressure on Garoppolo, and obviously we just let Mahomes do his thing, I think we'll be all right here in Chiefs Kingdom. But that is episode number 3 of the Super Bowl show here. We'll talk